All right, there we go. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Salty Saturday. My name is Dr. Fish, and I don't know how to properly set up my microphones or yet alone anything else, but we're here for Salty Saturday, and alongside me is Mr. Isocles, man of the people himself. And how you doing this Saturday
I'm
evening?
good. I'm good. Dr. Fish, I like how you put the emphasis on Mr. Isocles for my name, for my introduction. So put me in my place right away, just
Nah.
like Donde. I feel right at home.
Oh my gosh, no. Please no.
No, things are good. I'm
Awesome.
excited to cast. Appreciate you filling in for Donde. Should make for a good stream tonight. And what will also make for a good stream tonight is our two featured matches, starting out both coming out of the Legacy Red Conference. First up, we have Myanodon of F2L White against Mr. Python of the standard THL Degenerates. And then later on, we'll have Icer of the Flame Pimps against your Monkhead of Dad Legend. So good job, Beach, recruiting the good matches for tonight. Should be a fun evening.
Oh, yep, no problem at all. Um, you know, it's always good when players come to you and say, "Hey, I have a match and I'd like to be on stream." So that always
It
works
does make
well.
it.
All right, so I do
That
have
works out.
the Mr. Python versus Isocles match on the screen. So I will let you go ahead and run through the classes, and I will contact the players to see if they have done bans or
Sure.
not.
Yep. So we've got Myanodon, who has brought Druid, Mage, Priest, and Rogue. Mr. Python has brought Druid, Mage, Warlock, and Rogue. So a little bit of a deviation, I would say, from what would be expected to see across the board in Legacy in particular, with two of the most popular classes not represented tonight in Paladin and Warrior. And actually, looking at Legacy Red, it seems like Paladin has mostly fallen off from the other classes in the top five of being brought. It seems to be the class that people are getting away from in Conquest, at least on the red side. So, but it is interesting to see how these lineups will play out. It looks like Mr. Python pretty clearly has in his mind a target priest lineup. And for Myanodon, he's no stranger to target lineups himself. His just seems like decks that he likes to play. This could be possibly a little bit of a semi-target priest himself. The only problem is, one, he brought priest, and two, Mr. Python didn't. So we'll see how it works out for these two players. Both good players, both usually have good ideas coming into their match. Should make for a good one. I do expect, as far as bans go, which we'll reveal here as soon as we can, that Ionon might be banning the mage for Mr. Python. It's a pretty solid deck overall, and one that lines up reasonably well into his classes, depending on what flavor of Druid and Rogue they brought. For Mr. Python, I think it's a pretty easy Rogue ban, but I've been surprised before, so we'll have to see what the other players tell us and see what they had in mind for their bans.
Yep. They are banning right now, so we will have them now. Oh, okay. Yep, I have them. Okay.
Very good.
So Myanodon has banned Rogue. Mr. Python has banned
Okay,
Druid.
interesting.
Yep.
Okay,
So I will
so I
go.
was uh, I was off. Uh, happens sometimes.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's kind of clear what they're targeting and what the bans were was a little bit more up in the air. But
Yeah.
this is an important match for the week. We've already got three series in the books for this match, and Standard THL Degenerates currently has a 9-8 lead with this match and one more to go. So very important for these two players to get a win to put themselves and their team in the driver's seat for this week. So yeah, very key match here in week 4 of
Yes.
Legacy.
Yeah, and this legacy season is only 9 weeks. So it's important to get points as often as you can. We see that standard THL journers have had their bye week. Um, so for them to be coming off of bye or within the last couple of weeks and being able to put up a good fight against F2L White is going to show really really well for them, and we'll see how this match obviously is going to play out. Guess we're ready, so we'll let the players know that they can go.
Awesome. It'll be interesting to see. So imagine Mr. Python with his rogue band against the Mage Priest Rogue could very well just start with his own mage to start things out. Basically, I think he wants to just kind of run back classes that should be up to priest. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him go mage, warlock, druid as far as the general order is concerned. And for my Ananon, banning that rogue out from Mr. Python tells me that his druid might be a little bit heavier here. Although against the mage and the druid in a mirror, you probably do want tokens. So maybe he's just thinking that rogue represents a bigger threat overall, regardless of what it means for the druid. So he could be starting with the druid here. He could be starting with his own rogue.
Yeah,
might line up pretty nicely into what Mr. Python brought. So
yep.
We'll see what the players decided.
Cool. For those who will be watching, or for those watching on the stream, first to spectate is going to be my Anadon. Second to spectate will be Mr. Python. And of course, Isocles, you are free to spectate however you please.
I'll spectate as well as the client allows me to.
Yeah,
so.
my Anadon. Not letting. I can't spectate my Anadon. I will need a spectate invite probably.
Yeah.
I think he got the
Yep.
He got the bug. Disconnect bug.
Alright, letting him know. Meanwhile, we do see a clown druid from Mr. Python, which does make sense if he's targeting priest. So
yeah, that's what I
and
thought.
This is about as heavy as a starting hand as you could possibly expect from the druid side. So throw it all back and hope for something better and two more heavy cards. So
yeah.
All right. So working out our spectator issue. My Anadon, I won't bug him too much during the game.
Yeah.
Let him focus on the play. But...
Exactly. So I will at least make sure to have Mr. Python's side up on the screen itself. That way we have something to look at.
Yeah, so we'll just guess at what my Anadon has in his hand, what he's doing, what he's thinking. So looking at what he left up, he banned the other rogues. So I imagine this is probably more along the lines of a miracle rogue, if I had to guess, possibly secret rogue, but probably not weapon rogue. But you never know. So weapon rogue does do well in the mirror. So it could just be a matter of not wanting a mirror across his classes to ban that and still bring it himself. So we'll probably take a turn or two before we have an indication from my Anadon side which rogue he brought.
Yep.
In the meantime, Mr. Python's not going to be doing much of anything, so we'll have some time. And we're seeing Octobot, so we're looking at Miracle and Secret as our two options here.
Yeah, with an Octobot coming out. Mr. Python opting to not trigger the Octobot himself.
Yeah, it's always a choice of whether or not you want to take the chance that your opponent doesn't have a way to trigger it, in which case you don't want to do it for them. On the flip side, this is the potential punish that your opponent can draw a whole bunch more cards and get even more discounted if they're able to do it themselves with an Odd Merchant, as we see here from my Anadon. So maybe a slight punish for Mr. Python not trading, but I don't mind it. It's a tough choice generally, so we'll see how it plays out. How much stuff my Anadon got discounted remains to be seen, but pretty excited for him on the rogue side for now. So.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and give us an @live in the Discord.
Too quiet.
Good. So my Anadon throws down the Neophyte here. It wouldn't be surprised to essentially see it shadow stepped at some point. With the druid, I guess you don't know what you're up against yet because you haven't seen anything from Mr. Python. So that could either mean it's a very, very slow druid start or it's an unlucky clown start. not getting any of the ramp that the Clown Druid is looking for. But he has his answer now. If he wasn't sure what it was up until this point, the Moon Fang definitely gives it away.
Yes.
So unfortunately for Mr. Python, is a minion that Rogue probably has any number of ways of dealing with a lot of things that can kind of do 1 damage here and there. That yeah, we'll see Mana deal with this. Probably not too much trouble. But shadow stepping the Neophyte just to continue to be annoying for Mr. Python. And playing another one, my goodness, he is just stopping all potential answers. So he's looking for a lethal push basically over the next 2 turns.
Exactly, yeah. And Mr. Python having no way to play Guardian, almost no way to play GA, especially without the use of Lightning Blooms and Innervates.
Yeah.
Just makes
so the one thing
just
that
extremely
he has,
tough.
Right. So his one possible answer here is going to be the Lake Thresher and Broom. He's going to have to throw that down. It might not be enough. It's going to take 8 power off the board and leave up at least 5. Let's see, what's the most he can
6,
take
7,
off?
9.
Yeah, it's still going to be basically a Wicked Stab away from lethal for Mana on next turn.
Wow.
Unless he doesn't play this Neophyte back out, but I imagine that he will. I mean, you've already played 2. What's 1 more? So. You want to keep as much damage on the board as possible.
He was spreading out against the Lake Thresher.
Yeah, I mean, with the way his minions are set up, I mean, there's not too good of a way of doing it. I mean, making sure that all your 3 attack minions aren't standing next to each other is probably the best thing. But yeah, this isn't gonna quite be enough here if Mana has any burn in his hand. Which we're still kind of guessing at. So
yeah, we are, unfortunately, but I'm sure we'll get that resolved after this game.
All the damage going face right away tells me that
Wicked Stab is in the hand. Yeah.
Yeah. This is always going to be a tough matchup for Mr. Python, I think. Choosing not to ban Rogue, probably coming into the series with his deck choices, expecting the Rogue to get through. So I don't think this is going to be too upsetting for Mr. Python. If you can steal that win, great. If not, then so be it. But we'll see Mr. Python's strategy come into the fold once Myanon has to queue that Priest.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Myanon goes ahead and drops that now, or if he's getting that read and just wants to lock up the win on his Mage first. Considering the Mage should have some pretty good matchups here with what Mr. Python brought. We'll let Mr. Python know.
Yeah. Of course. And meanwhile, I will...
Oh, he may have just jumped right back into the game.
Ooh.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll continue to guess. Yeah, that's my fault. I didn't snap that off quick enough. So, Mr. Python going right back to the Druid. So that's what you often see with a player that has decided to hard target a specific deck, that they will continue running what they think is the best matchup against that deck, even in the face of potential bad matchups. And then we'll resolve Myanon's
Myanodon has the mate. Is that the priest from Myanodon?
Yeah, he did bring out the priest. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, so he's just leaning into it, saying that, hey, you want to target my priest? I think I can beat your druid, so let's go. And we'll see how it plays out for him. So there's a couple of things Myanodon could have done here. There's a couple of new lists that have been gaining popularity, running Devouring Plague and Flesh Giants. Things that just kind of build bigger boards that could make it a little more awkward for the druid to deal with potentially. But once again, we'll be guessing on what Myanon's brought until we see some cards get played. So
yeah.
So, Fuchs, which priest do you like these days? What tickles your fancy from the slow class perspective?
So, I was generally running. I don't know. I was running all sorts of different priest lists, for like THL, and I played I played one of the qualifiers this weekend, and I ran the Flesh Giant version, and I don't know. I still don't have like a definitive like favorite version of priest. I think I'm favoring towards this new like Flesh Giants version. I know that a lot of people a few people have gravitated towards like the Hockey Boys primordial priest deck. But I haven't played around with it too much, so I can't speak to it specifically.
Yeah, I think it's been a little hit or miss as far as
Yeah.
like what it does better against
Yes.
that we actually see on ladder. So probably in this matchup, I mean, it could
Hmm.
potentially make an appearance.
Yeah.
It potentially does a little bit better against mage. Since it does a little bit better against warlock, you're able to tempo out a little bit more and not let the game get as drawn out, where you're susceptible to the burn or
Yeah.
Tickett's game plan. Those two classes do, and
Hmm.
for my end on having this early Sethek is pretty nice because Druid's not going to have an answer to it. You could generate a ton of value and potentially build up a pretty big threat on the board.
Hmm.
That room pickup is pretty nice for Mr. Python. It does give him an opportunity to answer this as soon as next turn if he really wanted to, but more likely than not, it just gives him some flexibility if things start to get out of hand from the priest side of the board.
Exactly. Yeah. We do see palm reading discovered off or given to Myanodon off of the Sethek Veil Weaver finds Power Word Feast. So this guy's getting pretty buffed up now.
And he's already managed to play 2 Palm Readings, so most of his spells are going to be free or close to it
Yes.
at this point. Whatever minion he just drew is going to be 2 mana cheaper, so a pretty good start for Myanodon, not wanting this game to get too drawn out.
Hmm.
And it's a nice pickup for Mr. Python. Now he has the opportunity to rush this broom out without overloading,
Hmm.
and then potentially in another turn or two. But no, he opts to just wait, so it looks like he might be setting up the Guardian Animals for next turn with
Yeah.
that Innervate that he drew. So.
I was pretty sure he could have just gone for the GA right there with the Bloom Innervate coin, but I mean, I don't I don't think it was like the end of the world or anything that he didn't play it, and if there might actually be a case that it's better to hold off. But we're gonna see it
Yeah, I
come out
think
here.
yeah, just the ability to get down that mini ahead of time before he's overloaded, just to have a little more board presence going into the guardian animals is pretty nice.
Yes.
Um, like Dusher, so this is interesting. If he wants to attack with Twilight Runner, he will die. And if he interesting. So he opts to make that trade. I wonder if he's also going to trade into the Torpid. Yeah, so he opts to just leave the full health Thresher there, which is susceptible to Hysteria if Mana wants to go ahead and use that resource. But Hysteria is a pretty premium card for Priest here. It's one of the few ways that they have of dealing with some
Yeah.
of the bigger boards that the Druid is capable of, minus the Clowns, which Hysteria is not going to be super effective against. So, but 6-mana 10/10, that
Oh,
is
and
an
it's an
ogre.
ogre
That's pretty
mancer.
good.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
It's a nice pickup there for my nice tech inclusion in the deck, knowing what he's up against. Mage and Warlock. More mage, so Mage than Warlock.
This.
Don't like this card. Druid, even Clown Druids,
Yeah.
are going to have some issues dealing with this. So
I.
we'll see how Mr. Python navigates, but this is going to be extremely awkward for him for the rest of this, as long as his 10/10 lives.
I think that the board's kind of is at least clearable with the strongman broom potential. Just depends on how Mr. Python wants to navigate it.
Yeah, you could trade everything but the Thresher in to that Clown. He also is, kind of setting himself up to use the Thresher to put damage into it,
Yeah.
and then only lose the Strongman here
Yeah, that was
with that broom. So
definitely a good choice.
Time grows short.
showing patience with the Resizing Touch. Want something bigger. The options at 9 mana are really good if you can get to that point, and more likely than not against Priest, you're going to be able to. So should be in pretty good shape here. Likely we see another Guardian Animals come down next turn that will probably draw the other Twilight Runner, but that might be it as far as beasts that are left. No, he has the Moonfang. We saw the Moonfang last game. We haven't seen it this game, so should be able to pull 2 beasts out that Guardian Animal still. That's a pretty good 7-mana minion for the Priest in the Alabaster. And so now with my kind of cycling through, had his 10/10 killed, so he's starting to look like he might be, at least from a tempo perspective, on the back foot. I mean, Priest always has ways of playing reactively and catching up, but it's not exactly where you want to be in this matchup, particularly if the Druid is playing Yashiraj. But that being said, the tempo is right back on Manon's favor with that Giant, so giving Mr. Python a whole lot more to deal with than a Guardian Animals may be capable of. But that Thresher living will certainly help a lot. Moonfang will help trade off one of these things, and then the Twilight Runner once again sacrificing itself for the greater good, just to get some cards and take this board out. So, so we will see just a Moonfang left for Mr. Python, but that's not too bad, all things considered, what he's had to deal with from the priest side.
So the interesting thing now is that Myanodon has a 1 mana Primordial Protector. So we'll see what his largest spell is.
Yeah,
And that'll also tip off Myanodon, so it's Power Word Fortitude.
Yeah, so he is running the full Primordial list for the priest.
Yeah.
And you won't get the immediate value out of going face with the Green Rag, but still not a bad choice because it does help soften up this Moonfang, which might have otherwise been pretty awkward, having already used 1 Devouring Plague. So it's going to be tricky for Mr. Python now. He has both Primordials in hand. He's played both Guardian Animals, and he has both Survivals in hand. So this is going to start getting a little bit lower on the mana scale. With that being said, a 3/8 taunt is pretty good. So
yeah,
not getting the full benefit of that Primordial, but Overgrowth is pretty nice. At least getting a 3/8 for it. So
yeah, it'll force something. It'll probably force the Ogremancer to trade into the 6/1 unless Myanodon has a spell to do so. Does get another protector.
Yeah.
Gets a Troublemaker. That's huge.
So as opposed to Mr. Python, who drew all of his big, expensive spells, Myanodon was able to get all the value out of his protectors and draw those 2 8-mana spells, and he is just going full face, which I like a lot because you're cutting the Druid off of the knees here, knowing they can't play Survival next turn without some mana cheat, which you seem to have already. Even then, they would have to play a strong man behind it, which you very well could have an answer to. So, yeah, this is really good for Myanodon being able to just take control of this game. That Alabaster off of the random 7 drop has paid off hugely for him, and it allowed him to just completely dominate this game before Druid could come online to Survivals. And I don't know if there are too many miracles off of Resizing Pouch for 8 mana here. Doesn't have a room for Thresher to clean stuff up, and Python just throws in the towel. Doesn't even want to look for it. But man, that was a rough sequence for Mr. Python, drawing all his expensive spells and then giving Myanodon a 1 mana copy of a minion that he was already designed his deck around. Is a pretty brutal way to go for the Druid there. And Myanodon gets the priest through, which now does feel pretty bad for Mr. Python.
Yeah.
And he'll be left with just the mage. So, and we'll Myanodon to relog.
Okay.
Hopefully get some good spectating going on.
Myanodon is going to relog.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we can just banter back and forth.
Sure.
So, what's your take on those first 2 games that we've seen?
I think just Myanodon's ability to create constant pressure against the Druid of Mr. Python really put him in a bad spot. Especially in the priest win, because in a target priest lineup, if the priest gets through the rest of the decks, while still not obviously bad to necessarily play against, now only having the mage that has to win for Myanodon, especially if it has to go up against Warlock, it's just mage being pretty heavily favored against Warlock in that case is quite difficult for the for
we'll
the
see
Warlock.
how Mr. Python built the deck.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there's things that you can do that you'd want against priest that might also be useful against mage. You could potentially be running ogres.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty interesting for the mage to deal with.
Yeah.
You could, I suppose, if you're starting the priest, he probably does run the top end of Yashiraj and whatnot. So you can't necessarily fish out the Militia off of Talon. By the way, we've seen some Lockless too, so that'll be interesting. Imagine that if he's committed to the Druid to this point, he might just throw it back out there, or if he switches, I imagine that we'll see a Mage Mirror here in a minute. So, but let's see what Mr. Python opts to do, knowing he has to beat a Mage 3 times in a row to take the series.
Yep.
Stick it to the Druid. All right, I admire the commitment.
Mhm.
And this is a matchup where again it's a Druid can find the ramp early, unlike the last game, getting all the expensive spells first. They can put out a pretty decent amount of pressure, a lot of stuff on the board in the way of the mage to prevent Master Cthulhu from hitting their face too much, to pressure the mage's life total. So this could ultimately be a decent matchup for the Druid. It just needs a better start than what we've seen these first 2 games, and that is not it. My goodness. These early draws for Mr. Python just not going his way. No ramp, drawing all the beasts. Pretty rough start. At least from my honest perspective, if you're a Mr. Python fan, we don't see Incancer's Flow in the opening hand. So that's a little silver lining for Mr. Python here, staring at a very clunky hand himself, is that he's not going to see a Flow on 2. Unless his Trick Totem decides to get really obnoxious and throw it out there for him, but we'll see.
Yep.
Not bad. 3-2. It's pretty good for Trick Totem. So.
Oh wow, yeah, I played Pitmaster Pavilion or whatever it's called, Deathmatch Pavilion. Yep.
Yeah.
Spell that not
Really
many
good
people
for,
have seen.
If the class that it belonged to was still in existence, then this card's not too bad.
No.
Just unfortunately is not seen so often. So yeah, just really rough from Mr. Python's perspective. Really breaking this early game draw and kind of letting Ryan get a footing in this game where the minions he got up a font of power. Raz and Varden could be extremely useful later on. Raz is fine. It represents some threat on the board, but it usually comes down about the time that Drew would normally be playing Guardian Animals.
Ooh, has the option for a mirror entity, which could be a spicy pick against a Druid. I don't know much if the other 2 picks are that much better between Wildfire and Deep Freeze.
Yeah, I think just based on what's in your hand, mirror entity makes the most sense because it gives you something that's relatively. Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it burned a flow.
Burned a flow, burned ramp. So both players losing something that they probably would have preferred to have in their hand. But
yeah,
I mean this game's not going to fatigue.
No.
So it's more of just like silliness more so than direct impact. But still, losing that flow is not great for me in any case. So
for sure. But we see the Devolving Missiles, Mayan instantly going for that card. And it gets transformed into a 1/2.
Yeah. The card draw and the brain freeze. So picks up the refreshing spring water. So even without the flow, Mayan's getting a lot of pieces together and already putting a decent amount of pressure. Then gets more card draw. This Trick Totem is really doing extremely well.
Yeah,
I mean, even drawing 1 card is great. Hey, Mr. Python gets the Overgrowth on 4 just like he planned. So there's something, but still in a pretty rough spot here without holding the Guardian Animals because Mayan's almost certainly going to end this turn playing Raz just to threaten even more damage. Doesn't quite have the over-the-top burn in hand, but he is holding 2 masks, so if Mr. Python's not able to put stats on the board, then Mayan's looking pretty good to pull up the series.
Yeah. Wow.
Summon, my god.
Summon.
This is Zoo Mage now. This Trick Totem is just. I mean, he basically has lethal next turn. Mr. Python has to play a minion, but I mean the problem is, I guess maybe he doesn't have to because Mana can't afford mask next turn, but still like, oof. I mean, you definitely nothing to do but play a minion. So.
Fireball would be lethal off the top. Is not found, but Incanter's Flow is.
Yeah, he's able to draw if he wants, or play the Ruined Orb.
Yeah,
the Ruined Orb could give it to you. You could have Cram Sessions for another shot at it, but
yeah,
I think might have liked to have drawn there, but I think it's kind of splitting hairs. I think either way you feel
Sure.
really good about your position now. So
Yeah, I mean,
setting
he
the Druid
just
down
he
to
just
2.
wins. I think. Oh, I wonder if is that lethal? Yeah, it is. Ross is
Yeah.
lethal. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. That was a quick match.
At one point, I'm going to learn how to do math and be able to more quickly commentate on these mage games.
Yeah. Same here.
That
All right.
was a really
Fast.
unfortunate series for Mr. Python and
Yeah.
those draws for the Druid not cooperating, but well played by my Anadon nonetheless. His ability to count is better than mine, so congrats to him on the 3-0 victory.
Yep.
So
We can get our boy in here for an interview. All right. I'll get my Anadon added to the call. If Discord will allow me to actually do things. There we go. Right.
hey, my Anadon, how's it going?
Hello, hi, my Anadon.
Pretty well, I guess. You know, that seemed to go pretty well for me. I had some good luck, and I think I played the the right matchups and decks for what I sort of knew going in. Mr. Python was probably gonna do. It seemed like a very much a priest target lineup, so I really was pretty confident that he was bringing the Primordial Druid, and brought the decks that I felt in those classes lined up the best, and managed to sweep it. So
Yeah,
can't complain.
worked out pretty well for you. I definitely think you played well and had the right mindset going in. You were also benefited by the Druid completely bricking
Yeah.
basically all 3 games, which against the Rogue is tough to get on the board anyway, but against Priest and Mage not hitting the Ram on time and Trick Totem being an absolute god for
Yeah,
you
what
was
was that
pretty
trick
funny.
totem? I was like, this could win me the game, or it could really throw things off. It ended up doing a little bit of both, but
Yeah,
the destruction of cards didn't really
nah,
matter
it was funny though.
in that one at all.
But summoning minions, you basically turn into Zoo Mage there,
Yeah,
which the Druid hates to see. So, but nonetheless, I mean, you play against the cards that you see, and you played it well. So, yeah, I think we identified early on that it was likely to be a priest target, and knowing how you've built your own target lineups in the past, that doesn't surprise me that you were kind of ready for it. So. So talk to me about the priest list. We weren't able to see the cards in your hand, but did get to see that you were running the primordial list that I think Hockey popularized. So talk to us about what we didn't get to see and how that deck was designed to deal with the priest target.
yeah. So I mean, a little different than it's definitely inspired by the hockey boys and those lists that I've seen. Running the Flesh Giants, the Primordial Protectors, and the Powered Fortitudes, which I didn't have a chance to play. But obviously, those are the 8 costs that the Primordials were getting the big summons off of. So I managed to get lucky with that. It's also, I cut some of the Zyrella Samuro package stuff and put in the Kazakas. I know some people were already doing that.
Mhm.
And then Ogre-Mancers, I think, was like a little tech that I felt was good into what I expected in the mage, obviously, and then the primordial druid, using a lot of spells at first try to get on the board. So I figured that those kind of small choices and differences, I'm not running wand makers, I was running the sethics because I felt like it was a bit more of a controlling game plan, and having that kind of stick early could really generate a lot of that value that I need.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we saw a payoff, especially with that Septic early.
Mhm.
Anytime, and against Druid in particular, that
Yeah.
it's able to generate you that value and kind of get buffed up. be just that much more annoying to deal with. It works out pretty well. So the one kind of highlight play for RNG card of the week, I don't know if it'll quite qualify, but getting the Alabaster off of the random 7 drop, and then immediately
getting
giving
the
you a
Primordial.
1 mana version of the
Oh.
card you built your deck around was pretty
I
nuts.
know, that was
So,
insane. It let my
yeah.
next turn be way better. I mean, I had the other Primordial in hand, but it just
Mhm.
let me play, a ton more cards getting that 1 cost. That was
Right.
absolutely insane, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Discounting the play you're going to do by 7 mana anyway is pretty nutty. So, but anything going back to game 1, anything that anything spicy about the rogue at all, or was it just you kind of run of the mill miracle rogue that got on the board and did what it did?
Yeah, pretty run of the mill. I think the flex spot there for most people is the Cult Neophyte. Some people are running,
Mhm.
something else. I obviously in this matchup I felt like they were pretty powerful, and we saw them do, I'm sure, a good amount of work. I didn't see the hand, but into the Druid, a lot of what they want to do early really does stop their big power plays.
Yeah, because especially, I mean, you had the idea that it was probably primordial, but in that first game, it wasn't necessarily guaranteed, and there's a good chance that you could have still been facing a slow starting token druid. So playing it into that turn 5, delaying the glowfly swarm, things like that,
Mhm.
was pretty good. So putting those neophytes in was
Yeah, I also
a good choice for you.
figured, there's also, turn 5 is really when you start having to think about like big, ramp crazy stuff. They're running the double, um, what's it called? The
Guardian
double
animals,
innervate, double lightning
or innovate
bloom,
mighty
and
boom.
then
Yeah, yeah.
they can definitely get to get the guardian animals early. Obviously, 5 maybe like you're not playing around all of that, but I felt like it was pretty safe there to go for it and keep pushing.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out. I think we were talking before the match started that there was a decent chance that he would have banned your rogue. He opted to ban the druid. I think it was probably points will be the way, but the expectation that rogue was likely to get through either way. So I think it was a good call by you just to start off with the win and then just carry the momentum from there. So,
Yeah.
Beach, what you got? Any questions for our illustrious guests this evening?
Nothing in particular. I mean, from what I saw, it was really interesting. To see the druid just kind of do not a whole lot for 3 games, where I've seen in my own matches where sometimes when that druid does get going, it's really strong. So I don't blame Mr. Python obviously for playing that a lot. And on your end, I think Isocles covered most of what I would have asked about. So awesome, that's good. And
Why not? You
obviously,
got the open forum. Any last shout outs or
yeah, we've got a bit till the
comments
next
there?
match, so
We
Oh
won't ask
yeah.
we won't ask you to
Sorry
filibuster
for
for
the
20
super
minutes.
quick
no,
one.
you're fine, man.
It's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Also, sorry that you couldn't spec me. I don't know what happened. I mean, I've been kind of
The
like,
disconnect bug happened.
oh yeah, I must have disconnected earlier. So
Mhm.
I left the client open for a while. So
All good.
must have happened at some point. I didn't even notice. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of played out the way I was hoping. Obviously, got lucky with a lot of that, but uh, team, we had a couple of different lines going in, and we ended up on this one. So glad we did. There was definitely another sort of line where I went with the band druid as well, was a consideration, and leaving the rogue up, assuming it's probably poison rogue. But I figured that could be a little difficult with the mage and the priest, and even if I like tech against it, it can still kind of, if I don't hit the tech, can get there. So
Yep.
yeah.
that's why I went that direction. But definitely open to that kind of stuff in the future. Who knows? I gotta definitely do some more play testing.
Yep. It makes sense. I mean, I think I would have guessed Poison Rogue as well based on what was expected, and I probably would have made the same choice because I hate that deck. So it just, one of those things that definitely makes sense as a ban. It has been on the rise, especially against Priest and Mage in particular. So definitely checks out.
Yeah, it's kind of funny going in. I think Mr. Python and I had similar ideas because actually I looked at our last week. We both lost, and we both lost to counter lineups, to counter priest lineups.
Mhm.
So I had an idea that that might happen, and I almost went with the Warlock as well, but I was like, I think the Warlock can kind of stall out. We didn't really get to see it here, but I was worried that that's kind of the weak link, and sort of pivoted from there. And then ended up seeing what I saw last week, and the pivot ended up working with the Druid in there. So that was just a funny kind of coincidence, I guess, that I noticed.
Yeah, that makes sense. You stuck with the priest despite it potentially being targeted, and Mr. Python decided to drop the priest and target it himself.
Mhm.
So different takes on kind of a similar sequence. So
Yeah, I don't know how Mr. Python's matchup went last week, which he played against the counter lineup, I believe. But when I did, it felt winnable. So I was like, I really felt like I just kind of got unlucky a little bit in that matchup. And now my opponent played well, obviously, but so I felt like the priest wasn't that weak,
mhm.
and felt like the target can certainly fail, and worked out this time.
Yeah. No, I definitely I think that priest is like from a statistical standpoint, it's a deck that seems to be targetable based on the other
Mhm.
decks in the meta. But in practice, I think it's very difficult to actually make that work. I think priest right now is just in a really good place
Mhm.
overall of being able to either deviate a little bit from a traditional kind of control priest game plan like you did with the primordials
Mhm.
and ogre masters and things like that, or just to win anyway because of its
Generate
ability to.
random
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a dicey
Mhm.
option, but one that sometimes could pay off. So it'll be interesting to see if that ends up being something that more people try, or if you have kind of put that on warning as being maybe not necessarily the way to go
Who
for,
knows?
for
I mean,
players
Yeah.
trying
we're
to go in
gonna
that
probably
direction.
get a
So,
shakeup here soon too, right? With the
Yeah,
buffs
yeah,
and nerfs.
buffs
So
and nerfs next week.
yeah.
I think,
5 cards in there, 10 cards buffed. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think in making a prediction like that. I mean, maybe we'll have one more week of this, but it depends. Do we know when that is actually supposed to hit? I don't think they said exactly.
they haven't. The speculation is probably like Tuesday,
Yeah, I
which
mean
is a
that's what it
typical patch
usually
day.
is. But
Yeah, so you never know. They could throw a curveball and do it Monday or
all
later,
right.
but
Well,
should be all right.
if you still haven't played this week in Legacy and you somehow submitted the same classes, well, now you have a game plan.
Yep.
Oh,
There you go.
Siri heard me say something. I don't know what Siri was on about, but she heard me. I don't know what I said in there that sounded like "Hey Siri," but
She's just excited about the upcoming changes.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, I got nothing else. I mean, I'm down to hang out and chat about stuff until your next match. If you need something
Yeah,
to do
well,
for the airtime, I'm just
yeah,
chilling,
I
submitting.
think we
So
might be able to get that match started a little early, but we're still waiting on your mother
Yeah, they said
to jump
about
on. But
it should be about 7
you
more
want to,
minutes.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it should just be
Okay,
about like
cool.
yeah.
7 more
So,
minutes.
man, you want to go on record with any predictions for nerfs or buffs? Anything in mind?
Oh
Anything in
wow.
wish lists that you got? Things that you want nerfed or would like to see buffed?
I mean, the usual suspects, I guess, is what I would predict that people are saying, like conviction, crab rider. Like what else are people predicting? People are
Or
hoping
the
for Lucia, maybe like
yeah,
that could happen.
Lucia, Ticketus, and Il'gynoth
Uh,
is the trifecta that VS has been looking for, and Canner's Flow is a pretty
Yeah, and
popular
Canner's flow.
request.
Hmm.
So I think the fact that they're also buffing things is really interesting because I think I would have been a little bit concerned by a nerf in Canner's Flow just because that Mage deck
Then
is
yeah, there. What else do you play for
a
mage?
little bit weak without getting
Yeah.
flow onto it. It can still win, but the fact that they're building in some buffs as well could offset that a little bit, or just give some love to like the ping mage they try to push this set. So who knows? But
Yeah.
yeah, I could see a lot of interesting changes. Buffs are a pretty big variable. We've only I think really seen it once in the past as far as like widespread
Yeah,
buffs
Yeah, that was
with
Rise
it
of the
did
Machines or
Lunacy
Lunacy
event.
whatever.
and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, I mean that
Pocket Galaxy
Pocket
and
Galaxy.
things like
Yeah,
that. So and that definitely had a major
yeah,
impact, more so than even some nerfs have. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
should be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting
I think we see
for
Shaman come
sure.
back as a class next week.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it definitely doesn't feel like one right now. So
Yeah.
could see it. They might have to, if they do nerf Il'gynoth, they'll have to do something maybe
Oh,
for Demon
gosh.
Hunter as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what they would buff, but
I really want to
maybe
see
they don't care
really want to see
right now.
Hysteria nerfed.
Yeah, it's also on the
I
list.
think Hysteria would be
Yeah.
a good
So.
nerf. Make it 4.
Is there any bold one? Do you think that they're thinking ahead? Like, if we nerf all these cards, is there some card that they're thinking that they need to nerf? You think that like is really performing well, but is kind of
I mean,
just
this is
I-
more
not really
like a
thought about?
personal wish list item.
Yeah.
But if they're nerfing Mage and Priest, then this might not necessarily be touched. But like Poison Room, we talked about briefly as being on the rise because of those two decks. But those get nerfed, then that sort of takes away the appeal of playing Poison Room in the first place. So that being said, it is a pretty terrible play experience. So that's
Yeah.
something that they've not hesitated to deal with in the past, whether it was Lunacy going to 4 or the Turtle Mage back in the day. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to see something change there, whether it's to Shank or
Yeah.
Cloak of Shadows potentially. That kind of hurts that deck a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I could see
Mhm.
that. It is interesting though. I feel like it's one of those decks that if it does become dominant for whatever reason, like really dominant, you could tech against it with like the oozes, and then it kind of just it can just lose if you just have a couple of oozes and get rid of the shanks,
Right.
and then they don't have anything. So, I mean, they obviously can still buff their hero power, but it just doesn't have the same sort of, uh, you know, game plan, I guess. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely could see it get hit because it is not fun to play against. But I also could see the argument for not doing it
Mhm.
if they don't hit it this time around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
definitely. I think just going through potential buffs, I mean, it seems like they would want to buff some of these like sort of fringe ideas they had for different classes, like Death Rattle, Demon Hunter, Pink Mage, things like that, that
Yeah.
haven't totally clicked yet. And then I think on the flip side of that, because we've got the mini set coming up probably towards the end of this month, too, if we see certain archetypes not get buffed that seem weak, maybe they have support coming
Yeah.
down the pipe, and they don't want to go too far on buffs. So be interesting, but a lot of changes coming.
I think
Definitely will be a fun time.
Celestial alignment was another one people were talking about. Maybe a buff.
Oh
Yeah.
Could be
gosh.
like fun for a miracle sort of druid
I-
thing, but maybe that's also not so fun to play against. I don't know.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
might be one where they kind of leave at the fringe
The-
of viability.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
some cool moments. Certainly impactful in Lunacy Mage when it popped up from time to time, but maybe not so much as like a regular top of the line druid deck. But you never know. So,
Yeah. I
what
think
about you, Fish?
For
What do you want to see nerfed besides Hysteria and
nerfs
or
well
buffed?
so I think really like I think the interesting part about nerfs is because there's kind of 2 paladin cards I could see getting hit or changed in some way, which would be Conviction or First Day, and it all depends on like where what they really see fit for that. I don't really have any like bold nerf predictions. I'd like to see for buffs. I'd like to see Brucon get like a mana reduction, but also have the stats changed a bit. Like I feel even though like his spell damage shaman is something that they really wanted to do because they made Brucon as a 4 mana 5/4. Like I wonder if you can make him like a 3 mana properly statted, or if that might be too much of a buff and that would just take shaman to a massive place where they're just the over the top burn deck at that point, which could be really bad. Maybe Murloc,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
it's a diamond
Caravans,
card, right?
maybe Caravans.
Caravans,
Like,
yeah,
you
haven't
just-
really seen much play.
Yeah, those didn't take off at all. So.
Yeah, change them to be like at the end of your turn instead of at the beginning of your next turn or whatever. I think that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think
that would be so powerful though if they were end of your turn.
Yeah.
So they might have to tweak things if it is.
Sure.
I don't know if it's that simple of a change
Yeah, maybe
for
or
for
a
those
health
specifically anyway.
change maybe a health change. Make him have 4 health or something. I don't know. Because we see Crab Rider as a 2 mana 1/4 being hard to
sort
remove.
of saw the
Yeah.
Exactly that. I was gonna say, like we've seen all the other sort of the nerfs were making all these 1/4s and 2/4s and things have 3 health. So
Mm-hmm.
the
The
reverse
last
would make
post.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I think with Shaman, like Brukon's a good idea. I think it's always risky to make spell damage cheaper, but I
It,
think what that deck's missing is some form of card draw, which I think
yeah,
is more of a mini set fix than a
exactly.
buff. But you never know.
And
They could decide that something
yeah,
that exists now deserves to nudge up. So
Murlocs.
a lot of options. So
Help Murloc Shaman.
yeah, Murloc Shaman would be fun.
Yeah,
That came back. So
yeah,
Murloc Shaman.
yeah. It's a
the
wild
fact
deck.
that
It's a wild
Crab
deck.
Rider exists as powerful as it is, and Murloc decks aren't otherwise a thing other than just Crab Rider by itself. So there's a lot that Murloc Shaman needs to be viable, since one of the
Yeah,
theoretically best cards in the deck is also going to get nerfed here in the next couple of days. So
yeah.
um, yeah, again, I think it just comes down to Shaman not having that sort of that draw or that generation that other
Exactly.
classes have available. So
Yeah, I think Shaman will be. I feel like it's gonna take the mini set to make Shaman better. Um, so I don't know. I don't want to see them hit Ticketus. I understand that in some in some capacity that playing against Ticketus where you can't really interact with it doesn't feel very good. Um, but at the same time, like the stats aren't like I guess if it that would I guess be a nerf on feel on like how it feels to play against it. I know it has higher win rates, like not in competitive formats. In competitive formats, it's not very good, but or it's good against specific things in specific ways, but not against everything. So I just don't want to see them hit Ticketus hard.
Yeah, I mean, if they're nerfing the counterplay, it
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. Not
yeah, we'll
even that
see.
like Elusia's great counterplay, but it
Yeah,
does
I'm surprised.
sort of answer it a little bit if you get it on 9 or whatever, and
Hmm.
you hit him uncorrupted. I mean, a lot of things have to go right, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's just the fact that Ticketus exists in that Warlock deck that is sort of holding Priest back from completely dominating. Maybe you don't need that hard counter. If Priest gets nudged down
yeah.
a little bit, and then maybe you just want Warlock to be able to do something else. But
yeah,
so it
makes
looks like we
sense.
might be getting here Icer and your mom kid
You-
challenged up and
They did.
on to our next match. So Maya,
Sure.
any final thoughts before we move on to match 2?
Nah, good luck to both players. My old team, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a Dad Legend playing it.
Dad
So,
Legend versus the Flame Times.
I mean, they're in our division, so I wish them both the best, but also,
You'll be watching and scouting and getting ready
yeah,
for.
we'll see. I mean, I know Ked. Ked's great. I mean, Icer too. Is Icer still playing all the Murloc stuff? I don't know. We'll find out.
No clue.
We will see.
Probably not. I don't
No,
think
not at
there's
this
any
point.
You
viable
never know.
Murloc deck right now, but who knows?
Sure.
He's figured it out. He's breaking the meta as of tonight. For the next 2 days, Murlocs are going to be all the rage because of this Icer THL match. So,
That's right.
all
All
right.
Let's
right.
go.
Well, good luck.
Thank you,
Very
my
good.
Anadon.
Appreciate it,
Have fun
man.
later.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye.
All right, Peach. I have a report on the bans for you if you're
Okay.
ready to get us transitioned to match number 2.
I have. All right, so I
All
guess
right.
this.
So, yeah. So your mom kid banned Icer's Rogue, and Icer banned your mom kid's Priest.
Okay. Easy enough.
And they are ready to start when you are. So
Sure. You
you're
can.
good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. You can go ahead and. I'm just gonna change the bands here. They can go ahead and play, and I'll go and spectate. First to spectate on our screen is going to be your Mumcad. Second to spectate is going to be Icer. So, get that all up and ready.
And just a quick introduction to this match.
Yes.
So Icer with his Rogue band will be running the Demon Hunter, which we don't see too much of, as well as Mage and Priest. Your Mumked with his Priest band will be left on Mage, Paladin, and Rogue. So he's playing 4 out of the 5 most popular classes, with Warrior being the one he left off. Won't be seeing Priest for him tonight, but other classes here have been pretty popular. And this match is pretty early on. This is only the second match in this series this week. Dad Legend off to a 4-0 start off the sweep from Blue Spartan beating Boolean. So
Nice.
important here for Icer to put up a good showing to get the Flame Pimps back into this match. But your mom is a good player, so this should be a good series. I'm just waiting for the players to get started.
There we go. I have
Looks like we
eyeballs.
got some eyeballs.
All right. Eyeballs and no disconnect
And
bugs.
shout out to everyone in the chat that allowed us to filibuster for 20 minutes after
Yeah.
that first match. Hopefully we kept everyone's attention.
Definitely.
And Icer has the good mage play of drawing flow before he gets to turn 2.
Yes.
So that looks pretty good for him. And hold on. Together's an auctioneer in his hand. That's in his deck. So a little bit of a curveball. Icer, this is not a no minion mage because
No.
we have minions. So
Spell
it'll be
damage.
pretty interesting. Yeah.
Or 8
Auctioneer
damage.
is a card that hasn't been in Mage since Mozaki,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a thing that you can really do. Maybe he's figured out a way. Maybe we'll see Mozaki here. But if your Monkhead side, this looks like a pretty standard Secret Paladin running the Ogres, so it's like he had in mind that he was dealing with the Mage here.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting that he banned the Priest running the Ogres, but I guess Ogre's not that great against Priest anyway, so... But having Sword on 2, both players getting their power plays early, and should make for a pretty good match. Both being able to do what they want in the early game.
Quick.
And your own kid hits the Oh My Yogg off of the Sword of the Fallen, so it could be disruptive for Icer. Should he try to play Refreshing Spring Water next turn, or get some draw to keep his hand going, but we'll have to see. So. Runkhead now can curve directly into the Watch Commander. He could start developing the Egg and Boar if you wanted, or even the Egg and Crab Rider on the coin. A lot of options here for your Monkhead.
Yeah.
Generally, as a Paladin, you have no idea yet that this isn't just a no minion mage. You're expecting the worst here, seeing that flow on 2. So I'm trying to figure out what represents the most pressure, and also ability to kind of curve your mana out. So interesting to see what he goes for. And looks like he's helping the egg coin. He's gonna save the coin. Okay, so just egg into boar. This is probably the least amount of pressure in terms of the options he had, but the egg is something that could be difficult to deal with. Unfortunately for your Monkhead, Icer does have the good answer to a buffed egg in the Dwelling Missiles in hand.
Yeah.
But a little bit of a slower start, I think, for your Monkhead. You're kind of taking it a little more quiet than I would have expected against a mage. See how it pays off.
Right. He has made his move here, though. He has gone Northwatch, coin Crab Rider with the trade.
This is a lot of cheap spells for Icer. I'm wondering if this is some version of Mozaki that we might be seeing here, with the intent of fireballs and ruined orbs being enough burn if you can sort of build up that big turn with the biscuits and everything else. So looks like that might be what we're looking at, but yeah, he's gonna need to get some draw and basically some draw here really quickly, and that ogre is not gonna make it easy for him.
Yeah, he's gonna have to remove that ogre this turn, or he's gonna be pretty much shut out of this game.
Yeah.
Doesn't go for it. Curious. Freezing 2 random minions does get Oh My Yogged. I guess the Oh My Yogg being there is the reason that you would not go for a fireball, obviously. The flurry becomes something that becomes a flurry, but a rank 1 flurry instead of a rank 2 flurry.
So he hits the devolving on the ogre. That is a really big pickup. I guess it doesn't matter so much. 2 dormants are pretty annoying. I don't know who they're more annoying for, honestly. If they're more annoying for your Monkhead not having the pressure of minions on the board, or maybe more annoying for Icer and not being able to deal with the minions right away and having to deal with them later on. So let's see how many more spells Icer plays.
The dormants are
I guess he
making
kind of
it
wants
awkward.
Yeah, they definitely interrupt the shooting star position here. I'm wondering if he just stays at shooting star because, um, I mean, I suppose playing it now it doesn't change the math on that 2-2 living and being able to attack into the gadgets. And next turn looks pretty good for Icer though, being able to flow every second flow into spring water. So you could be in a position to kind of go off next turn and really see what this deck is about.
Yep. Looks like your Mudkip just is gonna remove the
Yeah,
Gadgetzan
absolutely.
with Hammer of the Naru and develop a 6/6, removing your opponent's minions and getting tempo out. That is a good thing.
Let's see what Icer has up his sleeve here. All right, so he's got his cheap ruined orbs. So is he gonna have to throw this fireball at the 6/6? He might.
I think you might have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Hmm.
You should still have enough burn to deal with this. You just need to stop the damage coming in until you can find Mazaki. But at this point, he really is on the find Mazaki game plan to activate this last cram session and get through the rest of his deck.
Yeah.
Um, if he doesn't draw that, probably in the next turn, then he is most likely just dead.
Mhm.
Um,
Finding that
that,
second
that second
Omayog.
yeah, not gonna make it easy for him. I mean, he definitely has ways of playing around it with the cheap flurry. So that's not the worst thing in the world, but it is still a little bit annoying. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Mm.
so your mom kid basically just has to get Icer down to 8 health between this turn and the next, and so that Alex represents lethal the following. If he can just straight up kill him next turn, then great. He doesn't quite have the gas yet, assuming that his board is dealt with this turn. Snap freeze, pretty interesting. So, clear out the Yogg, and then we probably see a flurry. Try to hit the Murloc with it, and then snap freeze it. But
Turn into a
no, he's just
shadow
gonna throw the
step.
fireball. Interesting.
Yeah, that was
Icer-
really his way of dealing with it. Maybe Ruined
Yeah.
Orbs would have been better.
I think you really do have to save the Ruined Orbs for
Yeah,
Mozaki.
you're right. You
If that's
do.
when you do that, then you're just dead. I think Fireball makes sense. The fact that Flurry's only rank 2 is probably the reason why he took that
Mhm.
line to Fireball the Murloc, just to make sure it died. And
Yeah.
then really banking on it. I think he identifies the only way he's winning is if he draws Mozaki like next turn. He wants as many cheap spells as he can just to buff up that cram session to get through the rest of his deck. Fireball didn't fit that game plan, and risking a flurry, hitting the Murloc and then snap freeze if it didn't is
Mhm.
probably better served just holding it in case he draws Mozaki.
Yeah, and at this point, we see if Conviction hits correctly, it would be lethal. It is not. Okay. Very close, though.
Yeah, it does force Icer to win next turn though, just because of the Alex in hand. So
Yeah.
this is it. It's Mozaki or bust for Icer
Exactly.
here.
Yeah.
I must move quickly.
And really,
And even
2 ruined orbs. He would need. Let's see. He'll be able to cast that we can see 3 spells before cram session. So he'd be able to draw 4 cards,
Mhm.
and then he would need to cast another probably 5 or 6 spells. Get their ruined or refreshing spring water gives him a chance.
Yeah, Springwater would be
So-
interesting, but if he's gonna do this, he has to just straight go with no
Yeah,
and just
he
play
does find
cards.
Mozaki.
He's going.
All right,
He's
so
going.
here we go. See if this is enough. Watch the fireworks happen.
Yep.
Galloping Savior doesn't matter. So he plays the spring water, so he will be able to draw the rest of his deck.
Mhm.
And we'll see if there's enough in his deck to get there. Interesting. So he goes for the Stewardess Scroll. So I guess he thinks that he just doesn't have enough and needs another cheap
Yeah,
spell.
the lack of fireballs makes this very difficult.
It was always going to be tough because those fireballs weren't discounted enough.
Mhm.
But let's see. I mean, the Conjured Biscuits do help from that perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah, Arcane Intellect is 2 of the last cards. Yeah, there's
There's nothing. Yeah.
how much are we up to? Up to 10, 11? I think he actually got there.
Oh, he did. Did he?
He did have enough spells.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
That freezing, snap freeze. So the Ruined Orbs being saved are going to do 12 and 13 damage.
Yep, that's enough. Exactly
So
enough
there you go.
damage.
Mazaki Mage still exists. How about that? Icer. Big plays. Takes game
Did you get it
one.
off?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
for sure.
My stuff was just lagging behind. All right, game 1 goes to the Mozaki Mage. Spicy Bring.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm 100% trying that deck after we are done casting here tonight.
All right, I would love to see that deck be played.
We just did. We got to see it.
I
work.
mean,
he was.
Oh, true. I
He
mean,
was
more.
basically dead to
Sorry, played some
Amazaki
more.
not being drawn that turn.
Exactly.
He did have outs for it with the Spring Water and 2 Arcane Intellects still in his deck, so it was pretty likely that he was going to be able to find it at that point, but he definitely was right on the razor's edge of just flaming out in that game, but he gets there, and well played by Icer to take game 1.
Yeah, exactly. Needed pretty much exactly that, and that's exactly what was drawn. So, see what these players if your mom kid's gonna stick to the Paladin or if he will switch decks, and we'll see what Icer's going to come out with next. Well,
with that rogue band left with Demon Hunter and Priest, most likely goes for the Priest.
Probably the Priest here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to run your Demon Hunter into. Oh, hello. I was gonna say you don't want to run your Demon Hunter into the Paladin, but maybe if you think that your Monk is not going to bring the Paladin because you are likely to bring Priest, then you snipe whatever other class your Monk brings by switching to the Demon Hunter, and that's what Icer's done. So a little bit of a Q mind game here to get a Demon Hunter into a more favorable matchup, and he's got Skull on the left, so this looks like an OTK Demon Hunter, and having Skull on the left right away against the Mage is pretty important.
Exactly.
Or your Monkhead, he has the Encounter Flow on too, like all good Mage players do, so he's going to be able to put out the maximum amount of pressure, which the Mage needs to do in this matchup to kill the Demon Hunter before the Demon Hunter goes nuts. So it will be interesting from both players once again having decent starts.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, this just looks like a normal no minion mage for your Mumked, and gonna play Blood Mage Cram Sessions.
Yeah, so one of the important things for the no minion mage is even when you hit that flow on turn 2, you still need to draw it, back it up, and getting that cram session after having the Primordial Studies on 1 is a really nice pickup for your Monkhead. Now with the Arcane Intellect to follow up, he should be able to get through most of his deck here pretty quickly. It's basically a refreshing Spring Water away from a really good time, and already starting to accumulate a decent amount of burn. Mask is almost always active for the Mage against Demon Hunter because they just don't play minions in this deck, and even if they do, it's a Morg, which dies even faster to Mask than most minions. So
I picked up a Phoenix here, but there is a chance you just don't necessarily want to go for minions. Now has found second flow for next turn.
Yeah. So he's setting up, so he'll have his Phoenix online for turn 6, which could line up with the Ruined Orb and the Fireball already. If he gets this flow down and draws the other Fireball, that is a whole lot of damage.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's 20 damage right there.
Yeah.
And then follow it up. If he blasts this turn, gets a minion stick, going to put out a lot of pressure. But I think getting the flow down is more important than the Apexis, just for that possibility. Yeah. Although there is a case that maybe Apexis is stronger, knowing that your opponent has the coin and is going to essentially Skull this turn, which is what we see from Icer.
See what cards get discounted. Ethereal Log Merchant. Moarg. Oh, wow. Moarg is a big one. And Il'gynoth. Wow. We're not that far off of being able to do a lot of damage as Demon Hunter.
With one Morg, and let's see, it'll be 4 spell damage on the first spell.
Yeah.
So that Fellspring Blast will deal, 5 times 2 times 3? I mean, that almost is lethal.
Yeah.
I think, just from that alone.
Exactly.
That's pretty crazy. What a goal from Icer. My goodness.
Yeah,
and there's just nothing that your Monkey can do about it. He can throw a whole lot of damage this turn. needs Ring Toss to give him Counterspell. I think
Yeah.
is
Well,
his
he got
only out
counter.
at this point.
He got counterspell
Oh,
here.
Counterspell off the Rune Orb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough read to know that that's what you have to do, but yeah, it's not.
I
I
think
think this
he's.
is probably Ring Toss.
I think he's made the read. To
Yeah,
go for the
to
Sea
Ring Toss here.
Spell. Yeah.
So he has the option
Finds
for
it.
Counterspell here, and he takes it. Yeah, so that's going to keep him alive next turn at least.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think if there's a way that Icer can play around it. So he's spending 3-4 mana for sure. He could play the Chaos Strike first
Exactly. Yeah.
and still have lethal. So
Runs out on
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
This is.
second secret not enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's just gonna be on finding the lethal at this point.
Yeah,
He's
so
gonna
I'm
MO, he's gonna
take
start with
Immolation
MO. Yeah.
right. And so from this point, it's just doing the math, see if he's got it, or he's hovering the I-beam, so maybe he's not thinking about it. Oh, the fact that he had to, no, he still has it. He just doesn't see it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
unless my math is wrong, which is entirely possible.
Yeah, it's
So.
entirely possible that the math we've done is not correct.
Yeah, so let's think this through. You have all the minions on the board. The Ethereal Arcanist plus
He does burn a
the
card.
Ethereal Arc Merchant would be +3 damage. Okay, so maybe my math
burns
was
the
off.
second fireball. There should still be enough burn over time though, with the mask, and in the Apex's blast.
So it would have been 4.
Mm-hmm.
Double, so it would have been 24 damage. So he would have been off if that was Ice Barrier.
Okay.
And that would have not been lethal. But knowing what we knew,
Mhm.
that Ice Barrier wasn't the option. So I think
Yeah.
he probably has it next turn because he can add in the other Ethereal Arc Merchant now. He has the mana to do
Yeah.
it, so should be okay.
I'm not sure about playing Apexis. I know it's like you have to play Apexis, and does actually get some. Would actually get some armor, but I think if the lethal is just large enough, there's no way that it There is a world in which you can kill off this golem right here with like a combustion ping, just to not give a minion. But I think the fact that Demon Hunter will just hit their own minions to do it would
you having minions is irrelevant.
yeah.
You want it for pressure on your side,
Mhm.
in case they don't have the nuts on their side.
Exactly.
I don't think there's ever a world where you're killing your own, but maybe there is.
Nah, you're just gonna go for the ring toss here and look for like more stuff. Another
pick
win.
another one portal and didn't get
barrier.
counterspell. So
No counterspell. There's no attack. There's not going to be an attack coming in. Netherwind Portal can't really save anything, so.
yeah, I think from this point, I think you play the Molark first in case it's Mirror Entity. I don't think your opponent, as a mage against a Demon Hunter, you're never picking Mirror Entity. But just in case, we play the Molark first.
Yeah.
Because if that comes on the board, then it just gives you even more damage.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Icer's perspective now is just navigating the counterspell, but because he has 2 Fellscream Blasts in hand. The first one is lethal, so even if it gets counterspell, the second one just comes behind it.
Mm-hmm. He counterspells the enemy minion, and now this one will be lethal. Yep.
Yeah, so our math was close the first time around. We got it right the second time around, and Icer was smart in navigating the secrets properly and taking a 2-0 lead over your Monkhead. Now he will just be left with his priest.
Yeah.
To have to be a paladin, mage, and rogue.
That's a tall task for that's a pretty tall task.
Yeah, beating priest 3 times in a row is always going to be tough. Mage is going to be favored. The secret paladin is not necessarily a big favorite, but it is one of the better paladin decks against the priest and rogue. Rogue is almost always favored against priest. So
yeah. What rogue do you think we're going to see when we see it? I don't know if it's being played now or not. I can check.
Now we've got your Kid on the mage first.
Okay.
He's going back to the mage, and he once again has flow in hand along with some draw. So he's going to feel good about this. But I would probably guess, because Ramon Kid banned rogue, that he's probably playing like Miracle or Secret Rogue.
Gotcha.
But we'll see. We'll have to see if your Kid can get the win on the mage first.
Yep.
Icer has looks like a Miracle Priest, a Rally Priest with the Sethic and Osmani. So Icer just bringing the spicy brings, coming on stream and showing everyone how to take some off meta decks to success. Granted, he's only up 2-0. He's got to get one more win, but this is a really good start for him. only countered by the devolving missiles that your Mumkid is about to play on this turn.
Yes. So, I guess. Well, we're gonna lead Arcane Intellect, or your Mumkid will lead Arcane Intellect, and then should play. Could go for Font to power as well before devolving missiles, but you want a devolving and hope it hits both the minions.
Yeah, you don't want to put them back in the res pool if you can clear them off now. What you really want is for it to hit Nazmani only one time. Unfortunately, it's going to hit twice because you want to put a different 2 cost minion in the pool to potentially disrupt the Veil Weaver. But this isn't bad. That Moarg is, not Moarg, the Gnarg is whatever. Gives an axe to the priest, but the priest isn't killing you that way, usually, anyway. So
Yeah. Did get
Ysera
Ysera.
Insight's pretty nice.
Yeah.
A cheaper, faster way to get him out. So
He Trick Totem. Maybe I
Can we
don't
see another game-winning Trick Totem.
maybe. We're gonna lead with Coin Arcane Intellect. Did find Flow. So is that second Flow?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's looking for. He just wants to get through his deck faster. Having seen Nazmani in the Veil Weaver, I think for Yamamketi, he just wants to get through, find his burn in this game as fast as possible before Icer gets a chance to do all the rally shenanigans, which he knows is coming. So
let's see what spells are gonna be discovered. Font, Flurry, Wildfire. Probably.
Yeah. Font's your best option. It's in your deck anyway. Your hand's pretty full, but it at least gives you things to do.
Yeah.
I think it's the best option there.
And now Priest has become a warrior. Thanks to Devolving Missiles.
This is pretty interesting that Icer is just throwing out this other Sethic. You know, if your Monkey does have the other devolving and hits the Sethic, then Icer does not have access to any new Sethics coming out. But feels it's worth the risk and throws out the Renew on the 2/2 just to get some more stuff going. Picks up Thrive, which he'll play right away, and generates a rally. So if he can get the Sethic and Nazmani in the death pool, he's given himself an extra rally to bring them back. So that's a nice pickup off the Sethic here.
Yeah. Officer the Thrive, but I might have picked the Palm Reading there instead. You have the spells in deck that you want to see get discounted, so I might have picked the Palm Reading over the Thrive, but Thrive is also fine, of course. Just digging through your deck more.
Yeah, that's exactly why. He just wants to get to that Nazmani as fast as possible so he can hopefully get it killed off as fast as possible and then have his big rally turns coming up. But right now he just doesn't have the hand to support that. So Thrive at least helps him get there a little bit quicker to find some ways to do that. So for your Monkhead side, we've had a lot of draw. Our hand's a little bit full. We want to deal with these minions, ideally with another devolving, but kind of like Keyword and Ivory here, and just throwing out a Brain Freeze behind it. But your Monkey's gonna just keep drawing. So
He's
see
gonna
what he's
up
fishing
this
for.
cycle. Does find a devolve. Does find the Brain Freeze to get rid of the Sethic. So there is one Sethic in the rally pool.
Clearing up his hand a little bit. Only gets 2 minions off the font. Yeah, so not the best minions either. And we're Trick Totem gamers once again.
All right,
We'll
let's
see how this one behaves.
Yep.
2 series, 2 Trick Totems. I'll take it. And that is useless.
That is
But
useless
better than worse.
indeed.
So. And big draw for Icer getting the money now.
Definitely.
So if this doesn't get devolved, then we are Rally Priest fully online. So
yes,
we'll see what Yamamkid can do. That might be the reason why Yamamkid was trying to draw through his deck as fast as possible to find his other devolving. Keyword and Ivory has the possibility of offering it, but because you have another one in your deck, you're just more likely to get it through that means. And that's what he's looking for here.
Yeah. Finds a Pexis, could opt to just remove the minion. Could opt to go face with it. Does go for the minion.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to hope your opponent doesn't have the rally or the follow-up.
Does find Aurora.
It's not super great for Mage because you don't want to target yourself with your burn. Not only does it pull it out of your deck, it kills your minion, so That is not a good pickup off the Effectus Blast. There's I guess a couple of good options. If it pulls Mask, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If it pulls your other Ring Toss, you're okay with that. But there's not too many
Yeah.
other good options. Everything else that it's targeted is there
Yeah.
goes the Fireball.
That's unfortunate.
Ouch.
That's so brutal for your mom kid, yeah.
Runs out on me.
There's not much you can do about it. You could
No.
possibly play the Star Scryer instead, but wanting to get out a Ring Toss, which he's able to find a Rick Fair game and another one Portal.
Yeah. Picking RF,
Which is actually
it's such an
gonna
interesting
overdraw.
RFG pick. It's gonna force him to override. He has to use this shooting star, or he's gonna.
yeah.
He does it.
It's just because the shooting star is actually pretty valuable in this matchup.
It is. It's so valuable.
But yeah, is it more valuable than your second mask, for example, or your second ring toss? Probably not. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't mind dropping it there. Just kind of unfortunate sequence there for your mom kid, getting Allura off the Apexis and then it killing itself. So
Yeah. Insights for Zyrella, just a plain Zyrella. The Netherwind Portal gets triggered. It's a 5/2, so that can get dealt with Hysteria. Yes, and that'll
like
also
play the
allow
play
Icer to
mage too.
draw.
Mhm. Yeah, because he has the rally, but he doesn't really have the targeted spells to really go off with it. So he's still looking for a couple more pieces.
Mhm.
Fortunately for him, he's at 30 life, and we've seen both an Apexis and a Fireball
Yeah.
get used on minions. So not the worst place in the world for your mom, for Icer to be in face of
Yeah.
his mage.
And your mom kid able to get a double occult conjure can play the Star Scryer to kind of dodge out of the to at least allow Hysteria to be a 50-50. Actually, if you target a 4/4, yeah, it's a 50-50 to full clear. But nope, Soul Mirror off the top. Soul Mirror played. Both players drawing a spell.
Yeah, it's pretty nice for Icer there to
Yeah.
get the benefit of
Exactly.
the spell draw also. So
Here's Devolving.
yeah, a little late on that, but
Yeah,
now your Mumkid is looking at a lot of damage. I think one of these masks gets played this turn. Potentially the 5 manages to do something else behind it.
sure.
Maybe develop the minion. But yeah, you really need to start pushing the gas
Hmm.
if you're your Mumkid. Start putting some damage out because you know that a rally turn's coming. And if the priest wants to spend all their time like buffing their minions and do all kinds of crazy stuff, fine, you've got Devolving for it. Let's go ahead and mask now while the face is open and just bank that damage.
Yep. Did pick up a Ring Toss as well, so would be able to Ring Toss potentially as well. Or the Arcanologist for 2 mana if you go with the 5 mana Mask of Cthulhu here.
Yeah, masked ring toss seems like just the best possible play in this situation. I mean, Ivory maybe make the case starting with the Ruined Orb, see what else you get is okay. I don't know how much spell damage he has left in the deck. He's played 1 Primordial Studies, so maybe not. But yeah, here we go with the cheap mask and the ring toss behind it, and he picked up a flame strike off the Ruined Orb. I didn't catch the other choices there.
Yeah, they didn't
he's
seem too
definitely-
great, but went with Netherwind Portal and Counterspell.
Mhm.
Alright, plays
I wonder-
Ysera, so we're gonna have Ysera spells to start playing.
Right. I wonder if your monk had
Didn't-
taken into consideration to Mirror Entity, but maybe not.
So interesting to note, Icer did not get the Emerald Drake. He only got a couple of things. He didn't even get Awakens. He only got Nightmare and Dream. So
I think just having a 4/12 and the Nightmare and Dream are generally the biggest impact cards,
Yeah.
especially in this matchup,
Mhm.
because both of them target minions, and
Yeah.
that synergizes with your rally. So that works out. Just dropping Izir on the board feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So. Actually, your Mumkid decides that he needs to devolving this board.
yeah,
I don't
not sure I
know
like
that this is.
but
It's. I mean, maybe you're thinking that if your opponent had the rally, he's gonna do it, and if he does it anyway, then devolving's not gonna help you.
yeah,
So just trying to deal with this board now
sure.
is your best bet. And then also the way you set this up is being able to mask, and he will be the other effects away from lethal next turn.
Exactly.
5 cards left in his deck, not a bad
And
odds
counter
for,
spell
you know,
getting the
lethal.
counter spell out on on the palm reading, instantly snap the palm reading instead of considering maybe Nightmare on the opponent's minion.
I
Now
don't think you ever Nightmare the Minion. I think if you do anything,
you dream it.
maybe dream it. Yeah.
Yeah, you go for dream and it
Or
won't
raise
happen.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raise that is always dicey in the situation because you're still low in life, but Spring Water, that
Spring Water is
is
very,
very likely to
nice.
find lethal.
Yeah. We're just gonna get his maximum value out of it. Play the minion. Finds the prime. Can't play it yet.
No, the Prime actually screws up the mana gain off the Spring Water. So
It does, yeah.
this is Ivory Combustion, most likely, depending on what you pull off of Ivory. Jolt Infestation is not bad. Gives you potentially a little extra pushing power.
True.
Wave of Apathy. I mean, if you're in a position where you're playing that, you're not in a position you want to be in. So I like Jolt Infestation, just putting a little bit extra stuff on the board at some point. If one of these minions sticks, then you get 2 extra damage going face. So not the worst, but here comes the rally. And let's see what Icer's able to pull off of it. So Blood Mage Thanos screws up the Sethic there. Unfortunate for Icer, but he is at least still going to be able to do some Nazmani stuff.
The
And,
4/5 living
take
is
that
quite unfortunate, but does find double smite to remove it.
He gets back up to 11, still dead to the Apexis Blast, 1 and 3 for your Monk Kid here.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't draw, he probably just rips the Prime, but
threw
no,
it.
picks up the Apexis. Yeah, so that's game 3. Your Monk Kid's on the board.
3. Yep. All a matter of just playing it out.
Jiroke considering the fact that he's on stream and wants to meme it up with the Solarian Prime instead of the guaranteed lethal. I would respect it. I wouldn't agree with it.
I would not agree with it, yeah. There's no disconnect. Oh yeah. Maybe your mom could stepped away from his computer for a second. I think he probably just played as soon as he got back. Gets the Grey Ball on top of it. Telling Icer he's barking up the wrong tree before dealing the fireball damage. And we have a series.
Yeah, so that Rally Priest is an interesting choice. It kind of ran into its worst matchup with the Mage, with the Devolving Missiles.
Yeah.
So now for your Monk Kid having the Paladin and the Rogue, those are also 2 pretty good decks against the Rally Priest generally, I think.
Yeah.
Especially because it's Secret Paladin. That can be disruptive. It can put out enough pressure early on. Icer's going to need a similar start to what he had in the last game, and on top of that, find the early removal against either Paladin or Rogue that synergizes with the Sethic to be able to just really go off as soon as possible. But otherwise, it's going to be a tough road for him to get that last victory here with this Priest. And your Monk is playing Poison Rogue, so it might be even more difficult for this Priest to deal with. He is running Samuro, which is interesting. So it's almost like a hybrid Rally Priest. I haven't seen this deck played as much, so I don't know if the direction it had gone before it kind of fell out of favor for the regular Control Priest was to include these control tools like the Lucia we saw, like Zarella and Samuro and Ysera, but those could potentially be enough to get Icer over the hump against this Rogue. However, for your Monk Kid, he has the Shank on turn 2 if he wants to. Just point it out and get to work. Yeah. Deadly Poison in hand also. He is, probably a draw poison away from really just blowing this game out. But
exactly, yeah.
Having a Shank is definitely step 1. So
Icer just wants to draw, so he's gonna remove putting the Blood Mage down in the pool with this before the Sethic. It's interesting. There's the he got the draw poison. This is gonna get out of hand.
Yeah, that was a big pickup for Jerome K because now he's able to kill a Sethic, and then over the next probably 3 or 4 turns, just ramp this Shank up and do all the damage in the world to Icer. So big draw for your Monk Kid there. And Poison Road gameplay is online.
Yeah.
Palm Reading and Insight are two choices here. I think getting the Insight just so you can get your minions. Ultimately, that's the only chance you have at winning this matchup is just to stick the Sethic and the Nuzlocke together and go off with an Apotheosis, Power of Fortitude, things like that. That just put out the maximum amount of pressure you can.
Yeah.
Which generally isn't that much for a priest. Usually not enough for the priest to deal with this version of rogue. But your Mumkhead is getting everything he wants, so I'm not sure it matters too much what Icer is going to be able to do in this game.
Yeah, and your
with
Mumkhead's
the path that your Mumkhead's on so far.
Yeah, and your Mumkhead's gonna have the Hunter Hero power, so he's gonna deal 4 damage. He's gonna opt to use this Shadow Step here. He wants to find Deadly Poison here, or Paralytic Poison. There's Paralytic.
Almost all the 1-mana options are really great for Rogue. I mean, that's why they run Wandmaker in this list. You've got the Poisons, you've got Sinister Strike, you've got even Yoink, as we see, is worth 4 damage because of that hero power. So yeah, everything going your own kid's way in the early game. But being said, Icer does have the other Sethic now as well, and Nazmani at least represents a card that Emerald going to want to remove to somewhat kind of deviate from just smacking his opponent in the face. He does have the Prize Plunderer, which will allow that to happen relatively easily. So we'll see how much of his deck he gets through this turn with Cutting Class. He will follow up with the other one, potentially the other Drop Poison, and yeah, once again, you won't get just doing what Poison Rogue does. It's whatever it wants.
Yeah. Finds another Paralytic Poison. Finds Sinister Strike. There's so much damage, right? Just represented over time. This priest is just not in a good spot, and it really just came so early.
To kill both minions with Prize Plunder, Shadow Step, Prize Plunder.
Yeah.
And it's pretty brutal for Icer to not have these minions stick.
He's got 2 turns. Nah, he's got less than 2 turns. He's dead next turn. If he's dead very shortly if he doesn't.
He's just dead next turn.
Yeah.
Is what we can see.
Because Wicked Stab is in hand. Yeah. Actually, he just does that and is able to bring the Wandmaker back to hand.
Yeah, as well. I mean, you don't need it for Prize Plunder. It might as well find you another Poison, another Yoink, a bunch of stuff. I'm surprised he didn't play it.
I don't think he had time.
I guess no, I take that back. There is a world where Samurai Apotheosis could come down this turn. So bringing the Wandmaker back into hand to prevent that healing does make sense.
Very good.
Perspective.
And that is lethal, I'm pretty sure. Deadly Poison, Sinister Strike, Wicked Stab. Yep.
Yeah, it would just be yeah, you're right. He needed the Deadly Poison, but with Wandmaker in hand, there's a very high likelihood he was going to be able to find additional damage needed, or the draw giving the Wicked Stab. He did not have it yet, but he was extremely likely to get it when that turn started. And join the Deadly Poison and just put it over the edge. So we're on to game 5.
Greatest words in all of Hearthstone. Game 5.
We're going to see your Monkhead back on the Secret Paladin up against this Rally Priest from Icer. And yeah, so this will be a little more interactive than that last game. Icer will have minions to target with his spells. And once again, he starts with the Weaver combo. So gotta be happy to see that. And for your Monkhead, starting with 2 Seekers in hand does not feel good. So
yeah,
we might have ourselves a win here.
Yeah, definitely. Just gonna lead out with the Avenge here.
I think what you're trying to do is maybe tempt the coin, because it's not super useful yet. But get your opponent to do something, trying to play around Omayog without actually playing around Omayog.
For sure.
First Ace was a nice pickup though.
Yeah.
This is most likely just a crab coming down, but we'll see what your monkey decides. The Og Merchant is a nice kind of tool to have for the Paladin. just to help deal with those Sethic and Nazmani at some point. So yeah, it makes sense that the crab comes out now. Nicer is getting to all the cheap targeted spells that you could want. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna put some pressure on Yolonka here to answer this Nazmani, which he cannot. He would have to. No, I don't think he can.
No, he can't. Yeah. Actually, he can. He would have to double
If-
trade both
you're
Crab
right.
Riders and play Rocket,
And
but that's like way too
You're right.
much.
I think you do though. I don't think you want to leave this Nazmani alive. I don't know. Killing off both your Crab Riders does suck, but
Hmm.
yeah. So maybe he's opting that
I
that
think-
is too much. Maybe you're
I
right.
think maybe the Omayog is just better with an egg.
Hmm. I think so. I think it's probably a more impactful play than just playing out the 1-2.
Yeah.
But this gives Icer the opportunity now to have himself a good turn.
So,
Except for Omayok. I wonder if you still get the discount from Nazmani.
Should.
You do.
yeah, you
How
should.
about that?
Because technically, a spell was played. It's actually upon the cast of a spell. So the wording on that makes it really nice. Trigger.
Yeah, as opposed to counterspell, which invalidates the spell, so you don't get any
Yeah.
triggers or spell burst or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. This is a very, very unfortunate hand for your Mumked. He doesn't have a whole lot going on here. The
He's
lack of
pretty much-
knights and buffs is just gonna put him in a rough spot.
Yeah, I was gonna say missing the knight, missing the hand of a doll, all
Mhm.
things that kind of get you through your deck a little bit quicker. And you still just don't have a good way of dealing with this Nazmani, and it's gonna be there, and this is not gonna be a fun time. So
We get the Sethic, and now it's gonna start doing the stuff. All right, now we're gonna trigger the Avenge.
figure out where it goes, and
goes
knows where
on
to target
the-
the smite.
Well, now that's where the
Yeah.
smite goes. Yes.
Yeah, I think probably the worst outcome for him would have been on the egg, but this was worked out
Mhm.
pretty well.
Exactly. Yeah. The egg is the one you didn't want to. You don't want to see buffed. Because now it can just kind of be ignored still.
And sort of on unfortunate pickup, considering he's almost certainly going to want to play the hammer next turn, so he's only going to get one secret proc of this. It does allow him to kill either the Nazmani or the Sethic, and the opposite go for the Nazmani.
Yeah.
Let that Sethic live.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's see what spell was. Galloping Savior, the spell that was taken out of deck.
Yeah, that's kind of the one you want because you know it's going to trigger
Mhm.
here because the priest is going to do a whole bunch of stuff pretty much
Yeah.
every turn now.
Mm-hmm.
So now Icer has the option to clear out the board. You can condemn first and then kill the 4/4 that pops from the egg.
Mhm.
And with your Yamaka only having one card in hand, this is looking really good for Icer.
Yeah.
With 2 raised deads, even if Yamaka is able to answer this stuff, like he just brings it right back the next turn.
Yeah. He's gonna opt to attack and then go for the Hammer of the Naru. And this is where the matchup, especially with Apotheosis in the hand of Icer, this is where things get out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
The first
Raise that first, trigger Omayag,
Yeah,
and then Shadow
exactly.
of Death, and let's see what else. You might even play the
this
other
gets
raised deads.
Sigil of
get the
Silence,
Nazmani.
so this 6/6 is gonna not even. Well, it's not
No,
staying
it's
around.
dead.
It's not staying around because of Shadow Word Death, but if
What it does is it stops your Mumkid from being able to play any buff next turn, so he can't even play
Yeah.
a minion plus authority. He can't even play an egg. Like it's
yeah,
just,
I
yeah,
I think
might
it's
just block out the game for Icer.
yeah, I think attacking first was fine. Not
Would you
attacking
rather-
first.
Yeah, waiting to get that minion spawn
Yeah.
and then killing it so that your Mumkid just has nothing to work with.
Exactly.
Because like now he can't even, because normally you'd hero power and authority this just to have a big minion having already seen one death, but you can't even do that now because of that silence. That's just
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, we can see that Icer has the second Shadow Word Death, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But from
Mhm.
Rumpkin's perspective, it's got to be tilting to see
Yeah.
that Omayag screwed you over.
Exactly, yeah. He's just gonna play it out, not even gonna attack. Sigil goes off. And now we see Nazmani, and we're gonna start seeing more spells. Focused Will
Yep.
on the 1/4, on the 1/1 to become a 1/4. Healing up the Sethic.
It is the part of the game where your Mumkid just kind of sits back and waits for it to be over because basically you're just watching your opponent play Hearthstone, and you might get to play a card next turn, you might not, but Icer gets to do all this fun stuff, and you are just debating on how soon you want to concede at this point.
Yeah.
This is just the nuts for the Rally Priest at this point.
Exactly. They're at full health. Yeah.
Oof.
This.
You can hero power and maybe a doll it just to draw and find something, but
Yeah.
like you're never going to be able to answer these 2 minions with what's in your deck.
Yeah, Secret Paladin is now out of gas, and when Secret Paladin gets out of gas, it's not good. We haven't seen any indication. We haven't seen any indication of top end of what the top end is of this deck as far as I can remember from the previous games, other than Hammer of the Naru. There is Alexstrasza, which can't even take out the 5/10. Would only be able to remove the Sethic.
Yeah, it just I mean, once again, your mom got to play one card, and then you just sit back and watch Icer have fun playing Hearthstone again.
Drew another path. Oh no, it's Gift of Luminous. Gift of Luminous shuts this out completely. That's such a huge pickup.
It's just how much. So your mom could opt to continue to let Icer have fun and play all these cards out. But it's only a matter of time before he concedes, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like Power Word Fortitude is just coming out from everything. Yeah, there's Generation, so many spells.
Yeah. So let's give props to Icer for this lineup. Bring the Rally Priest, bring the Mozaki Mage, the OTK Demon Hunter. Like he brought a very, I mean, I guess high skill cap is the sort of beam way of describing it, but it's a series of decks that you don't see too often. Definitely not on ladder, and certainly not very popular. But he has played them all extremely well, and came in with a plan, executed it just to perfection.
Yeah.
It did go 5 games, but I think he just ran into 2 tough matchups with this Rally Priest at the end. Yeah, he's just almost found lethal here. And
another Power Word Fortitude would have been lethal, but it wasn't found, so 1 damage.
Or if the Fortitude had been discounted enough.
Yeah.
Or another Apotheosis has been discounted. There's a lot of fun here. So you can't even Alex yourself for
perfect.
For healing.
Yep, fine.
Yeah.
Yep, that's gonna do it. Found lethal.
Yeah, that's off to Icer getting a win with 3 not like popular meta decks.
Yeah, for sure.
Well played by him.
Well played, yeah. So that gives some much needed points to Flame Pimps this week.
Yeah, brings them back to a 4-6 deficit. So right back in the series, what they needed tonight to get that win. So
let me message Icer if he wants to do an interview. All right.
I think your monk had played pretty well too overall. He sort of ran into the nuts in those 3 games that Icer won. Granted, Icer had to play it well, but OTK Demon Hunter hitting all the discounts that it needed, Mozaki Mage hitting Mozaki right when it needed, and the Rally Priest kind of going off uncontested against a brick draw from the Paladin. But otherwise, I think Ronka did pretty well in the face of unconventional deck.
Agreed.
So, hello.
Hello, Icer.
How's it going?
Good.
Which deck do you want to talk about first?
Um, hmm. I mean, they're all a little bit weird, so could really start anywhere. I guess
Sure.
I'll just go in
Which one?
order. I'll start with the mage.
Okay, go for it. So you've
Um,
made Mozaki Mage work once again.
I
Um,
have.
what prompted you to go for it and testing? You just really like the old version of it and wanted to bring it back, or like
That
what
was
stuck out to you about it now?
that was definitely a big part of it. Another thing I was noticing with spell mage is you could just run into situations where like you you could get the reductions, but then if you didn't hit like an AI or a Springwater in the next few turns, it was still kind of like tough to win. So by sticking in the auctioneers, like I feel like I get a little bit of uh, draw consistency back. It's definitely a lot worse when you don't have flows to like other mages, but
Mhm.
it
Right.
uh every time I've played another mage on ladder, as long as like I flow around the same rate that they do, I've won like most of the games. So it seems pretty good for the mirror.
Yeah, because you have that extra consistency of the draws. So I'm assuming that you're hoping they don't nerf flow here in the next week or so.
I'm very much hoping they don't, but it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah. No, it's a cool way to play Mozaki. How often are those fireballs part of the damage combo, and how often are they, like we saw today, just
Just
minion
removal.
control just to keep yourself alive?
Yeah, so it really just depends on when you get your reductions and when you draw the fireballs. If you get the reduction on the fireball, it can totally be part of the combo. But a lot of the time, there's just no way to generate that much mana in the Mozaki turn. So you either need to use it to survive, or you need to just ship it face early and go for like a slightly smaller Mozaki later on or something like that.
It definitely makes sense. So speaking of combo and mana discounts, how good were you feeling when that skull hit what it hit for you in the Demon Hunter game?
I was feeling very good. I felt a little bad because I had flow on two, and then I had skull on the left side of my hand, and I was like, "Oh man, here I go,
You should
making
never
my
feel
case. Get
bad in
these."
that situation. Those are the situations where you feel great.
Well, yeah,
But I know what
I
you
guess
mean.
I guess the feeling great came first, and then I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh
Feel bad for
man,
your
this
opponent. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, I
yeah."
gotcha.
Um, but but yeah, I mean, those were just great reductions. Like, yeah, it was. Those are just all the cards you want to hit. So.
The turn where you had the counter spell from the ring toss, did you give any consideration to trying for the lethal there, or were you just thinking you had it no matter what and wanted to wait to have it 100%?
Yeah, pretty much that. Because if it was counterspell, I just had no way to check for it. I don't think, unless I miscounted the mana. I might have been able to play the 2 minute spell, but I can't quite remember. But
I think it was
yeah,
really close. I think I initially miscounted the damage and thought you had more than you did, and that being able to play out the Chaos Strike would have still had it. But then when you played out the next turn, I corrected myself, and I think you probably were better off doing what you did anyway. So I think you would have needed to test for Ice Barrier as well. If it had been Ice
yeah,
Barrier, then it would not have been lethal. So
yeah. I was really worried about barrier counterspell because if
mhm.
he had that and I played all my stuff, like I was just kind of lost at that
Right.
point. I don't know. I've played the matchup a few times on ladder, and like I definitely have run into the mistake where like I'll attack into secrets, and then they can kind of outrace you, and they can out armor your combo just slightly. So like as soon as secrets come up, I just kind of like take attacking face out of the equation. When he played the second ring toss, I was sweating a little bit because I knew I had to draw like a 1 mana or a 2 mana spell to test for counterspell, and then I did. So
Yeah, that worked out pretty well.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I had
then
quite a few in my deck, so it was also pretty likely.
yeah, definitely. And then we get to the priest. So what prompts you to bring Rally Priest over sort of the more popular control priest that we typically see on ladder and in THL?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's kind of like a I don't have rally in the deck, but I just run the
Yeah,
Suffolk and
interesting.
the 3 drop. So it's like
Huh.
it's basically control priest, but instead of wand maker or scorpid, I just run
That's
Suffolk
fun.
and the 3-drop.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I had noted when we first saw you kind of drawn through deck, the fact that you had Ysera and Zyrella and Samuro, and I was thinking back when Rally Priest was still kind of being tweaked with that those kind of more traditional control priest tools weren't always included in the deck. So I was curious if you had kind of come up with a hybrid. It sounds like you did, but more in hybridizing the control priest as opposed to building around the rally. So that's an interesting way of designing it, and definitely worked out for you against that paladin.
yeah,
sure.
definitely. It was looking a little rough, and I was honestly like sitting there like the mage game and the rogue game where I couldn't really stick either of them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, like wand makers and scorpids would just be putting in so much work right now. But
Yeah,
I mean, then it blows out in the paladin game, so it's hard to say. I don't know. I like Miracle Priest, but like sometimes it's just so hard if you can't ever stick a minion, and like you can't like it just has so many bad beats. So like playing it in the control priest, I feel a little bit better having a Lucia. I don't know. I just like it.
yeah. I think you're in a tough spot no matter what priest you brought, and no matter how your draws went against mage and that version of rogue. It was always going to be a tough match for you.
Yeah.
I think your best bet, and the way it worked out was getting that win over the paladin. So yeah, you're kind of set up to have a rough stretch there towards the end, but you got through it. You got that game 5 win. So congrats.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
good luck to you and your team the rest of the way. Before I let you go, Fish, sorry, kind of override this interview from you. Any questions or comments?
No, you covered everything. That was really good. I enjoyed that entire.
Sorry.
I enjoyed the decks. I enjoyed the set. Yeah, I miscalculated on the Mozaki lethal. I didn't count the spells properly, but you did, and that was good. Yeah.
I think I had 24 exactly with just the combos in hand, and then I knew if I could tack with the weapon, then it was good. But yeah, then ice barrier.
No, I was talking about the
the devil secrets. Yeah.
the Mozaki.
Oh,
First game.
Mozaki.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. I
Yeah.
knew that I knew the Demon Hunter lethal the second time, but yeah.
Advantage adds
Gotcha.
up with Nozaki, with how many cheap spells there are now, even without
Yeah.
Apprentice.
Yeah,
Being able to do all of that.
I'll be honest. I've never counted the spell damage on Mozaki. I just like
You just
I
do
just
it.
do it.
Yeah, you just
I
do it.
go
Yeah,
for
that's
it, and
what a
I
lot of
think-
people do. Yeah.
I just think how many spells can I keep and how many can I play, and then just try
exactly.
to send it all in one turn.
Every once in a while, I played that deck a lot in the previous iteration. You do have to count because you have to figure it out. 1, not only your damage, but 2, how many cards you're drawing so you don't fatigue yourself.
Mhm.
But even
Yeah,
if that was true now, even if that's how you should play it, in that turn specifically, you didn't have a choice because you were dead the next turn anyway. So
yeah,
you're just going all in no matter what.
yeah.
So
I think
worked
that's
out okay.
usually how I play it. Like I'll just kind of if I have like double flow or something, I know I can just kind of go in like even on a turn 5 Mozaki, and like even if you don't kill them immediately, you'll have a fireball eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
But it like yeah, a lot of times you just kind of wait till the last turn that you know you can live, and then you just go from there. And you
That's pretty great.
you definitely have to count cram session spell damage because you can easily just like fatigue yourself for 50 or something.
Yep. Yeah, we've all been there. Anyone that's played the deck has been there.
Yep.
All right. Well, well played. Mentioned that the decks you brought, not conventional decks, but they definitely looked good when a good player is playing them, and you did tonight. So congrats
thank
again,
you.
and best of luck to your team the rest of the way.
All right, thank you. Have
Thank
a good
you.
one.
Have a good one.
Okay.
All right. That was
All right,
some-
Beach. We did it. Salty Saturday in the books.
All right.
We
Yes,
made it without
indeed.
Donde.
Yeah.
It is possible. He doesn't carry me always.
Yeah, it's possible. Dante doesn't carry him at all. So yeah, I obviously want to thank Icer, your Mumked, my Anodon, and Mr. Python all for playing on stream. I want to thank Isocles obviously for casting with me and being good at filling while I am getting everything all set up, and especially when we don't have a particular side because of some issues. But we made it. Another Salty Saturday in the book. Tomorrow We will have Sunday School Stone, a couple of great matches starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. I do not have them on the screen, but I know one of them is Geranium Battle versus Nice Jewish Owl, a much hyped match from both players. And I believe the first one is Kalos Luna versus Marty B in Pro. That will be Lotus Knight opping with some other casters, and then Sunday night is going to be probably just the Battlegrounds lobby. So look forward to that. Show's back
good.
on Monday. So actually, no, we're gonna have a tournament on Monday. Wild Last Hero Stand.
That's right. Or Manic Monday. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting. You're right. We're into our rotation now of Saloon every other week with one of our Maniac Monday tournaments filling in the alternate weeks. So make sure you signed up on Battle5 for that, and I look forward to seeing what people come up with for a wild hero format. Should be pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to playing in it. So
There you go. Good luck.
thanks. Yep. Thanks everybody for watching. We will see you all tomorrow. Until then, stay safe and have a great night.
Have a good night.